Long Island has gotten itself a new Free National Movement candidate. Community activist Rodney Moncur is sworn into the Senate, and credit rating agency Standard & Poor's downgraded the Bahamas to junk status. We've got those stories and others. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. The Free National Movement's Long Island Constituency Association did not mince words this week when it came to the leadership of Dr. Hubert Minnis. The problems facing Dr. Hubert Minnis, the embattled leader of the Free National Movement, continue to mount, with the Long Island Constituency Association accusing him of dishonesty and untrustworthiness over the revoking of Loretta Butler Turner's candidacy for the next general election. In an open letter to the party leader signed by the entire executive of the Constituency Association, Dr. Minnis is accused of falsely representing the views of the association in allegedly telling the party's general counsel last week that it had voted to withdraw the nomination from Mrs. Butler Turner, the island's MP. In the letter dated December 15th, the association claimed Dr. Minnis had done nothing but sow seeds of division, discord, and distrust since becoming party leader, and that he is desperate to the point of telling larger and bolder untruths. Mrs. Butler Turner was appointed leader of the official opposition earlier this month after she and 6 other F&M MPs wrote to Governor General Dame Marguerite Pindling expressing they had no confidence in Dr. Minnis. Last week, Mrs. Butler Turner's ratification for the Long Island constituency was revoked. She has twice challenged Dr. Minnis for the party leadership without success. In the letter seen by the Tribune, which is signed by the chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and 5 trustees, the local association confirmed its continuing support for their MP and accused Dr. Minnis of refusing to listen to the constituency's over choice of election candidates. The Long Island Association said it had run out of patience with the party leader. Meanwhile, on the heels of the party revoking Mrs. Butler Turner's candidacy for the constituency, attorney and Tribune columnist Adrian Gibson was ratified on Wednesday night to run on the F&M's ticket, replacing Butler Turner. After foreshadowing that some of her Senate picks were likely to shock the public, leader of the official opposition Loretta Butler Turner announced on Monday night that she had selected controversial talk show host Rodney Moncur to be appointed to the upper chamber. Mrs. Butler Turner also revealed that she had appointed former Senator Monique Gomez and political newcomer Jude Knowles to the opposition Senate bench. He, along with the others, were officially sworn in on Tuesday, but without controversy. Mr. Moncur was combative and aggressive when he was questioned about how his controversial views on marital rape, among other things, would fall in line with the views of the leader of the official opposition. The moment when the controversial radio talk show host appeared to come unhinged and went on to berate the Tribune unfolded at the Senate during a press conference moments after he was officially sworn in. The impromptu press conference, which was called after reporters requested an interview with Mrs. Butler Turner to respond to criticisms on her appointment of the 60-year-old turncoat, quickly disintegrated into a strong showing of Mr. Moncur's anti-feminist disposition as the Long Island MP looked on seemingly embarrassed. She was asked to explain the dynamics of his appointment to the Senate, given that Mr. Moncur was fiercely opposed to the marital rape bill, which she tabled in Parliament in 2009. She was in support of the proposed legislation and campaigned to have it passed in the House of Assembly. The bill was shelved after pushback from the community. Mr. Moncur was one of those who did not support the legislation. However, as she answered in an attempt to convince Bahamians that she and Mr. Moncur's differing points of view were not problematic, he sat quietly. It was after the press conference ended that Mr. Moncur stood to angrily berate the Tribune. This young lady, he said, is questioning my position on marital rape, he said, referring to the Tribune. I'm a 60-year-old man, and if I climb on top of my wife, she better. The community activist shouted as he beckoned someone in the room to close the door. You asked about my position on marital rape. Well, what was my position? What was my position? When the Tribune responded that his position to a marital rape law was well known and a matter of public record, Mr. Moncur shouted, "See there, that's what is wrong with you. You can't answer. I'm a 60-year-old man and you are dangerous. You must know how to frame your questions before you come to me." 2 days later, Mrs. Butler Turner sought to apologize and to establish clear boundaries on the type of conduct she expects from her new parliamentary caucus in a public apology from the inappropriate and insensitive comments made by Senator Rodney Moncur towards the Tribune. However, she defended the controversial talk show host's right to free speech and expression. Labor force officials are reporting that the unemployment rate is on the decline. The unemployment rate between October 24th and 30th was 11.6%, a 1.1% decline from May, the previous time the Department of Statistics conducted their labor force survey, officials announced on Wednesday. The decline came as hundreds of Bahamians gained employment in the construction sector after Hurricane Matthew's devastating impact. DOS officials could not assess the quality of the jobs created in the time between the two most recent surveys, such as whether they are likely to be stable or temporary jobs. However, Leona Wilson, the acting director of the DOS, admitted that an unemployment rate decline would not have taken place if it were not for the construction jobs created in the wake of the powerful storm. The Christie administration's 52-week job program also contributed to the unemployment rate decline, benefiting mostly young people, although officials were unable to say how many people have been employed through the program. The survey will likely be embraced by government officials, as it is the last labor force survey that will be released before the next general election. The meltdown of opposition parties in the Bahamas is a reason to have confidence in the Progressive Liberal Party, Prime Minister Craig Christie suggested on Thursday as he defended the performance of his government following Standard & Poor's decision to downgrade the country's credit rating. Mr. Christie's comments came during a groundbreaking ceremony for a new public-private partnership administrative complex in Grand Bahama. Mr. Christie pitched his party as a force of stability compared to its alternatives, even as he became impassioned defending the actions his government has taken in the lead-up to S&P's decision, which is expected to increase the cost of borrowing and could affect future investments. He said, quote, "Watching what's happening in politics, the meltdown of opposition parties, the instability that is being institutionalized, the hatred politically that is being manifested, should make people watch the PLP to once again conclude that you don't roll the dice with governance, but you make conscious, considered decisions at how best to protect future generations of Bahamians and how best to manage the challenges of the day," end quote. Mr. Christie said S&P's decision was taken because of the government's expenditure and borrowing in the wake of Hurricanes Joaquin and Matthew, as well as S&P's lack of belief that Bahama will bring its projected boom next year. The Bahamas has been officially junked. This coming from credit rating agency Standard & Poor's. Leading global credit rating agency Standard & Poor's on Tuesday handed the Bahamas an unwanted Christmas present, a downgrade to junk status reflecting the country's worsening economic and fiscal position. S&P's action, based on the Bahamas' weaker economic growth and slower fiscal consolidation pace, means that the country has lost all its important investment-grade status, which is potentially highly damaging for the nation and its economy, as it signals to the international capital markets that its creditworthiness is slipping into dangerous territory. The government said on Tuesday night that it was disappointed with the development, claiming it was most unfortunate that S&P did not seem to fully consider the impact of the many growth-generating initiatives now underway. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com, like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network, send us a tweet at Tribune242, or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242.